ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतां श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सागण रघुनाथान्वितं सतं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तु ते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंगायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य ईश्वरं गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for joining. Sorry I had to take class on Saturday this time. Just working tomorrow. So thanks for accommodating. Let's get started. So we were reading, we have read till verse 2.27 last time. And if you all remember, we were reading about the qualities or the characteristics of the soul. So Krishna was giving us the difference between the soul and the matter. And he gave us many attributes, many qualities of the soul, like how soul is, we just read how soul cannot be cut by weapons, how it cannot be moistened by water or burned by fire or withered or dried by air. It is immutable, it is eternal, it does not take birth, it lasts forever, it has always existed and will always exist. And there has been no time when it came into existence, and it will always continue to exist. It cannot be slain, it cannot slay, and it cannot be slain. So it cannot kill and it cannot be killed. So those are many, many things. And Krishna repeated himself quite a few times to emphasize to us the eternal nature, the immutable, unbreakable nature of the soul, to show us that how soul is actually untouched by matter. Even though soul is trapped in this body, it is an embodied soul. It is Dehi or Shariri. It has occupied a body for the time being, but it is not touched by whatever happens to the body. So those are many, many things Krishna talked about. This portion of Bhagavad Gita, this is called Sankhya Yoga. Okay, Sankhya Yoga means difference between spirit versus matter. So to understand what is temporary and what is eternal. Spirit is eternal and matter is temporary. What is destructible, what is not destructible. Spirit is not destructible and matter is destructible. Okay. This part is called Sankhya Yoga. Krishna will wind up this understanding in next few verses. So let's do 28, 29 and 30. He will continue on this same theme for a few more verses. Let's do 2.28. Avyaktādīni bhūtāni
अव्यक्तादीनि भूतानि
व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत
व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत
अव्यक्तानिधनान्येव
अव्यक्तानिधानेव
तत्र का परिदेवना
तत्र का परिदेवना.
Okay, please read the translation and purport.
You can read. All
Yes.
all created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation? Purport. Accepting that there are two classes of philosophers, one believing in the existence of the soul and the other not believing in the existence of the soul. There is no cause for lamentation in either case. Non believers in the existence of the soul are called atheists by followers of Vedic wisdom. Yet, even if for argument's sake we accept the atheist theory, there is still no cause for lamentation. Apart from the separate existence of the soul, the material elements remain unmanifested before creation. From this subtle state of non-manifestation comes the manifestation, just as from ether, air is generated from air, fire is generated from fire, water is generated, and from water earth becomes manifested. From the earth, many varieties of manifestations take place. Take, for example, a big skyscraper manifested from the earth. When it is dismantled, the manifestation becomes again unmanifested and remains as atoms in the ultimate stage. The law of conservation of energy remains, but in course of time, things are manifested and unmanifested. That is the difference. Then what causes therefore lamentation either in the stage of manifestation or unmanifestation? Somehow other, even in the unmanifested stage, things are not lost. Both at the beginning and at the end, all elements remain unmanifested, and only in the middle are they manifested, and this does not make any real material difference. Haribol.
Haribol. There is more underneath, but I thought I'll just discuss this. So what is this Krishna talking about? Manifest and unmanifest. There are two words that keep coming over and over again in the purport and in the translation also. What do these words mean? Okay. So manifest Krishna has called Vyakta and unmanifest is Avyakta. Okay. When something comes into existence, it's called manifesting. Okay. So that means Vyakta hona. Okay. Avyakta means something disappears out of our perception. We cannot see it anymore. We cannot hear it anymore. We cannot access it anymore. So that is called avyakta, meaning becoming unmanifested. Okay. So that's unmanifested. So Krishna is saying the soul is unmanifested, meaning it exists, it is there, but we cannot perceive it. Can we perceive a soul? Can we perceive anybody's soul? Not really, right? We can only perceive the soul when it gets manifested through a body. So Krishna is saying that all these material elements, they come together and they make this body, and soul occupies that body so that the soul becomes manifest. So it was initially unmanifested, meaning it was avyakt. We could not perceive it. We could not access it. We could not hear it, see it, talk to it, nothing. Then it became manifested because of all these material elements coming together that it has occupied. And then after that time is over, then it becomes unmanifested again. Okay. So this is the problem actually. This is where we lament when somebody dies. Basically, they have become unmanifest to us, right? They have become lost to us because we cannot now talk to them. We cannot have any relationship with them. We cannot have relationship with the soul. Huh? So we are not able to have really any tangible conversation. That is why people lament, because that person has become inaccessible or unmanifested to them. But this is the nature of the soul in this world, that it is initially unmanifested, then it becomes manifested, and then it becomes unmanifested again. So this is what material elements do. They come together, they create this body, soul occupies that body for some time, and then it leaves. So these material elements are these material elements are also in a similar way manifesting and unmanifesting for the purpose of the soul. Okay. Prabhupada is giving this understanding that there is no cause for lamentation in this case, because it's like you can compare this to, let's say a dream. In a dream state, when you're sleeping, you are the person that is sleeping is imagining some horrible things happening to him. He's thinking that the tiger is chasing me, or this killer is coming after me with a knife. He's going to kill me. So the soul is feeling fearful, but actually the person, we should know that nothing will happen to that soul. Nothing will happen to that person, because that person is just dreaming about it. So similarly, this manifest state for the soul is just like a dream. Whatever good or bad it experiences in this manifest state, nothing actually matters, because nothing happens to the soul as such. Whatever happens, it happens to the body. Nothing really happens to the soul. The soul is untouched by whatever happens to the body. Even if the body goes through sickness or health or prosperity or honor or dishonor or success or failure, those things are all happening to the body. The soul is not touched by those things that are happening to the body. Just like in a dream, even though you're feeling fearful that tiger is chasing me or killer is chasing me, but actually you have nothing to worry about because it is just a dream. It is just very temporary. As soon as you wake up, you will realize that nothing was actually happening to you at all. Similarly, this we should realize that when soul is in this body, whatever is happening to the body. The soul is completely untouched by those things, and so it is a dream-like state for the soul. So you should not lament about whatever happens to the body, because nothing is actually happening to the real self, the real person, the soul. Nothing good or bad can happen to him. So a spiritually awakened, a spiritually realized person who does not invest their energy in this dreamlike state, in this temporary manifested state, they don't pay so much attention to this manifested state because this is very temporary. So spiritually awakened person sees that people are just suffering or enjoying due to bodily conception, just like a person suffers or enjoys a dream. Okay, they don't understand that this is just a dream and it will be over and nothing would have actually happened to them at all. They are suffering in that dream or enjoying in that dream for no reason. The real person has nothing to do with that dream. Similarly, a spiritually awakened person knows that in this temporary manifest state, nothing is going to happen to the soul at all. Whatever people are considering enjoyment or suffering in this world is just due to bodily conception, bodily identification. They're feeling the pains, the struggles, the joys, everything. But none of this is actually relevant to the real person, the soul, the actual person. Okay. So this is the point of this manifest, unmanifest. Um, in terms of material elements coming together, manifesting for the time being, making the body, you can imagine, let's say, you can imagine like a painting. So initially there are paints that are all separate, and then a painting is made, right? So you can consider the paints are like unmanifest, they're scattered elements. Prabhupada is giving the example of air, water, fire, ether, they're all there, but they have not made a proper person yet, a body yet. Then they come together to make a body, just like a painter will make a painting from those paints. So painting will manifest, okay? But then if they were to completely separate again, all the paints will again dissolve back into the elements and not show a painting again. So that's all that is going on. So Prabhupada is saying that these elements, they come together, they make a body. That body is inhabited by this soul. Soul is untouched by the bodily changes, and then the body unmanifests again, it separates again. Let's read the last paragraph also. This is important. Mataji, want to continue reading?
Yes. And if we accept the Vedic conclusion as stated in Bhagavad Gita that these material bodies are perishable in due course of time, anta vantat ime deha, but that the soul is eternal, nitya syoktaha sarirana. Then we must remember always that the body is like a dress. Therefore, why lament the changing of a dress? The material body has no factual existence in relation to the eternal soul. It is something like a dream. In a dream, we may think of flying in the sky or sitting in a chariot as a king, but when we wake up, we can see that we are neither in the sky nor seated in the chariot. The Vedic wisdom encourages self realization on the basis of non existence of the material body. Therefore, in either case, when one believes in the existence of the soul or one does not believe in the existence of the soul, there is no cause for lamentation for loss of the body. Hari Bol.
So this is a very important line, that Vedic wisdom encourages self-realization on the basis of the non-existence of material body. So material body is factually not existent, just like that dream was actually just very temporary. It was not existent. For eternal soul who's going through so many bodies, this body is not, the temporary time is not so relevant. So we have to understand the eternal existence of the soul separate from the body. We have to pay more attention to that soul, which exists eternally separate from this body. It existed before this body and it will continue to exist after this body. That soul has more relevance than just the short time period within this body. So this self-realized people understand. Okay, let's continue. Next one, 2.29. आश्चर्यवत् पश्यति कश्चिदेनम् आश्चर्यवत्
आश्चर्यवत्
पश्यति
पश्यति
कश्चिदेनम्
कश्चिदेनम्
आश्चर्यवद् वदति तथैव चान्या आश्चर्यवद्
आचार्यवद्
वदति
वदति
तथैव
तथैव
चान्या
चान्या
आश्चर्यवच्चैनम् अन्य शृणोति आश्चर्यवच्चैनम् अन्य
आचार्यवचनमन्ये
शृणोति
शृणोति
श्रुत्वापि एनं वेद न चैव कश्चित् श्रुत्वाप्येनं
श्रुत्वाप्येनं
वेद
वेद
न
न
चैव
चैव
कश्चित्.
कश्चित्.
Okay, please read this. Go ahead.
Read, Mataji.
Yes.
Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. Purport. Since Gita Upanishad is largely based on the principles of the Upanishads, it is not surprising to also find this passage in Kata Upanishad 1.2.7.
Mother, you can skip the Sanskrit.
Okay. The fact that the atomic soul is within the body of a gigantic animal, in the body of a gigantic banyan tree, and also in the microbic germs, millions and billions of which occupy only an inch of space, is certainly very amazing. Men with poor fund of knowledge and men who are not austere cannot understand the wonders of the individual atomic spark of spirit, even though it is explained by the greatest authority of knowledge, who imparted lessons even to Brahma, the first living being in the universe. Owing to a gross material conception of things, most men in this age cannot imagine how such a small particle can become both so great and so small. So men look at the soul proper as wonderful either by constitution or by description. Illusioned by the material energy, people are so engrossed in the subject matters for sense gratification that they have very little time to understand the question of self understanding, even though it is a fact that without this self understanding, all activities result in ultimate defeat in the struggle for existence. Perhaps they have no idea that one must think of the soul and thus make a solution to the material miseries.
I think we can, because Prabhupada is continued in the same spirit in the next couple paragraphs also. So I think let's just discuss this. The key word here that Krishna is using over and over again to describe the soul is Ascharya. If you see in almost every line, he's saying Ascharya vat pashyati kashchidenam. So some people look at the soul as something very amazing. They see the soul as amazing. Some people describe the soul as amazing. Some people hear of the soul as amazing. And some people, even after hearing, cannot know it. Okay. So basically, in other words, Prabhupada is describing in the purport that this soul is very astonishing to the ordinary people. Okay. It is all these contradictory qualities of the soul, that how it can reside within a gigantic body, how it can animate even a small ant versus a gigantic banyan tree. It can be in a whale or in a small bug, a small insect. It can occupy millions and millions of germs also. All this is very contradictory qualities of the soul, which is very difficult for ordinary people to understand. So this is very amazing, very ascharyavat for people to conceive of the soul. They cannot see the soul, they cannot perceive the soul. So they find it this concept very amazing, very astonishing, and that's why they are not able to wrap their head around it, because they just cannot understand this concept of soul, this spirit spark, which has no beginning, no end, which is unlimited in its consciousness. All this is very difficult for people to understand. So Prabhupada is saying people with poor fund of knowledge who are not austere, because this type of knowledge can be gathered only by performing some austerities, by separating oneself from the bodily identification. So if you're very much consumed by the bodily demands and urges of the senses and mind, then we are so engrossed in the body's engagements, body's activities, and in this world. So people that are not austere, they are very easily, they give into the world's perceptions, which is very poor fund of knowledge. The world creates a lot of illusions, lot of ignorance, and so those people stay ignorant because they're very absorbed. They have faith in the understanding given by the world. And so people in the world in general are very ignorant, have very poor fund of knowledge. They do not take to this great authority of knowledge, this Vedic wisdom, which is actually coming straight from the from Brahmaji, and Brahmaji was given this knowledge by the Supreme Lord himself. So to them, this knowledge about soul is very confusing. They think that this is just made up, or this is very some kind of fantasy. It cannot be true. So Prabhupada is saying they're illusioned in this material energy. People are engrossed in the subject matters for sense gratification. So this is the first thing Krishna is doing in Bhagavad Gita, is to break our bodily identification, to tell us that body is not very relevant. Of course, we know that body has some relevance, but right now we are trying to understand that soul has more or most maximum relevance, and our time, our tenure in this body is very limited. And so we don't need to get so absorbed in the bodily matters and bodily activities, bodily enjoyments, sense gratification, that we forget the real person that we are. This is the first thing Krishna is doing, is to break this illusion of bodily absorption, bodily identification. So he's saying if you stay in bodily absorption, then it is very difficult to understand the concept of the soul. That is why we say that when we read Bhagavad Gita, we should actually simultaneously practice some kind of bodily detachment. Like, for example, today is Ekadashi. So we are recommended to practice some type of, voluntary austerity where we separate ourselves from the demands of the body. We are eating less, or not eating certain things that we otherwise like to eat. We like to eat roti and chawal and rajma and chole and dal. But today, we decide, okay, I'm not this body. I need to cater more to the soul. So let me spend some time in reading, hearing, praying, spiritual activities. So again, just trying to dissociate ourselves from this bodily identification. So these voluntary austerities, when performed simultaneously while gathering this knowledge, actually helps to understand this knowledge better. Otherwise, knowledge is very hard to understand, and people give up in the middle. People, it doesn't really touch their heart because they rest of the time they're just consumed by their sense gratification and sense enjoyment. So simultaneously, we are recommended to chant. We are recommended to observe these holy tithis, sacred tithis. They give us power. They give us mercy. And on at the same time, do your own effort of reading, hearing, and then the knowledge enters the heart. So I always say that it's not enough to just read Bhagavad Gita. We should start practicing it simultaneously, actually. And the first thing to do is to separate from the body. Let's read the last verse of this particular topic of Sankhya Yoga, 2.30. So the last verse we talked about how soul is so astonishing, how soul is so amazing to certain people. Let's read the last verse. Dehi nityam avadhyoyam. Dehi nityam avadhyoyam. Dehe sarvasya bharata.
Dehe
Sarvasya
Bharata
Tasmat sarvani bhutani.
Tasmat Sarvani Bhutani
Natvam shochitam arhasi.
Natvam
Shochitam
Shochitam
arhasi.
Arhasi.
Okay, please read this, the whole thing.
Yes, I can read it.
Yes.
O descendants of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being. Purport. The Lord now concludes the chapter of instruction on the immutable spirit soul. In describing the immortal soul in various ways, Lord Krishna establishes that the soul is immortal and body is temporary. Therefore, Arjuna, as a Kshatriya, should not abandon his duty out of fear that his grandfather and teacher Bhishma and Drona will die in the battle. On the authority of Shri Krishna, one has to believe that there is a soul difference. There is a soul different from the material body. Not that there is no such thing as soul, or that living symptoms develop at a certain stage of material maturity, resulting from the interaction of chemicals. Though the soul is immortal, violence is not encouraged, but at the time of war, it is not discouraged when there is actual need for it. That need must be justified in terms of the sanction of the Lord and not capriciously. Haribol.
So this concludes this a topic on Sankhya Yoga, the science of soul. It is also called Atma Gyan, okay, the science of the soul or Atma Gyan. So Krishna finally says that, O Arjun, descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body. So Krishna uses the word Dehi. Dehi means the soul who is living inside this body, the embodied soul, can never be slain. So this is his conclusion, that don't worry about these, your grandfather and teacher. They cannot be, the real self cannot be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being. Because remember that the first argument of Arjuna was, the first problem, the first doubt that Arjuna had was his compassion. So there are 5 arguments Arjun gave, or 5 reasons, excuses he gave for not fighting. And the first reason was that I'm full of compassion for my teacher and my relatives and my grandfather. I do not want to kill them. So Krishna is saying you will not be killing them because they cannot be slain. They are not this body that you're seeing. The body will be killed, but they will not be killed. So you need not grieve for any living being. So this is the first, the answer to that first reason or the first excuse Arjun gave for not fighting in this war. And Prabhupada is saying that um, that it's on the authority of Krishna, we understand that there is a soul which is different from the material body. So soul is living within the body. And the atheistic theory that there is no such thing as soul and living symptoms just develop within the matter at certain stage of material maturity, that is not the acceptable theory or by Krishna's instructions here, or this is not according to Vedic wisdom. So our Vedas do not say that living symptoms just develop at a certain stage of material maturity, because a lot of scientists say that, as you may know, there are certain theories which say that if that life emerges within the matter when matter becomes mature and reaches a certain stage, then life symptoms or consciousness develops within it. So life symptoms don't just develop within matter. Life comes from life. It does not come within the matter unless spirit, soul, or consciousness enters into it. So it is not by the interaction of the chemicals that life enters, but rather the life enters into the matter to animate that matter, not that the matter becomes animated by itself at a certain stage. So then he says in the last line, Prabhupada is saying, so we understand that the soul is immortal, it is eternal, but still we don't want to kill the bodies of people unnecessarily. Violence is not encouraged. So understanding the science of soul or Sankhya Yoga does not give you the license to start killing people. You're not going to commit violence unnecessarily on a basis of this knowledge. But at the time of war, it is not discouraged. When it is a religious war, a dharmic war, dharm yudh, then you have to commit that violence because it is necessary violence. It is deemed necessary by many wise people. So there is actually need for that violence. So then you don't shy away for it either from it. So this violence is justified. Actually, it is by the sanction of the Lord. It is not capriciously done. Capriciously matlab, like whimsically or sinfully, just for some whimsical matter, for some nonsense reason. No, it is done very thoughtfully, decided by many wise people that have come together, and they have tried all other resorts and nothing else has worked. And so this violence is now justified. This is needed. This is the need of the hour that you fight in this war. So we're not saying whimsical violence, but we are saying very thoughtful of dharmic war is needed. So I'll just take a pause here before we go into the next topic that Krishna will now start is called Sakam Karma. Okay, Krishna will now start talking about Sakam Karma. Okay, but this finishes the topic of Atma Gyan or Sankhya Yoga, difference between spirit and matter. Anybody has any questions about this before we take the next topic?
Mataji, so the Sankhya Yoga is from verse 11 to 30, right?
Yes, I think so. Let me see. 11 kya tha? Yeah, 11 Krishna was chastising. Yeah, you can say 11 or 12. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Mataji. Perfect. And 12th soul was, 12th verse was very significant because there Krishna established the individuality of the soul. If you remember, that each soul is individual. Even though we say we are all one, we are all same, does not mean that we are merged into one another. We are all still unique with our own individual, unique identity and personality and qualities. And we each have our own journey. So when we say we are all same, we are all one, means that we are coming from the same source, we have same quality, we are all Satchidanand Roop. We have same goals, that we want to go back to the Lord. We are in this struggle of existence together. We are in the same boat. So in this way, we are same. Our agenda is same, that we want to serve the Supreme Lord, satisfy Him. But each still has their own unique identity. And that identity is also separate from that of the Lord. Lord has his own separate identity as well. So every person exists separately from each other for all eternality. They all never came into being and they will never die. They have always existed and will always continue to exist. That was the first thing Krishna talked about, the soul, in verse 12. So yes, from verse 11 or 12, you can say, till this verse 30, we discussed the Sankhya Yoga. And now we'll start the Sakam Karma.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so let's start this next topic. Starts from verse 31. Let's read this. So now Krishna will give Arjuna various reasons to fight. What will happen if he fights? What will happen if he does not fight? Okay, he's going to show Arjuna that what will happen if he fights, whether he wins or loses. Krishna will show him that this is a win-win situation for him. And if he does not fight the battle, this will be a very big loss for him. So Krishna is going to give him the risk and the benefits of fighting or not fighting. कि फाइट करने में क्या बेनिफिट है और फाइट ना करने में क्या नुकसान है. What is the risk in not fighting and what is the benefit in fighting? So Krishna is going to give him the plus minuses or the benefits and losses of fighting and not fighting. Okay, this is called Sakam Karma. Sakam Karma means when you worry about the results, when you perform an action being very aware of the results, because you're very focused on the result. So you're result oriented. That is called Sakam Karma. You are very invested in the fruits of the activity. So that is called Sakam Karma. So Krishna will tell him what will be the fruit of fighting and what will be the fruit of not fighting. Okay, that is the Sakam Karma. Let's read this. 2.31. Swadharmam api chavekshya. Swadharmam api chavekshya. Na vikampitum arhasi. Na vikampitum arhasi. Dharmyadhi shreyo anyad. Dharmyadhi shreyo anyad. Kshatriyasya na vidyate.
Kshatriyasya na vidyate.
Okay, please read this.
Can I read this, Mata?
Yes, yes.
Translation. Considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles, and so there is no need for hesitation. Purport. Out of the 4 orders of social administration, the second order for a matter of good administration is called Kshatriya. Kshat means hurt. One who gives protection from harm is called Kshatriya. Trayate, to give protection. The Kshatriyas are trained for killing in the forest. A Kshatriya would go into the forest and challenge a tiger face to face and fight with the tiger with a sword. When the tiger was killed, it would be offered the royal order of cremation. This system has been followed even up to the present day by the Kshatriya kings of Jaipur state. The Kshatriyas are specially trained for challenging and killing because religious violence is sometimes a necessary factor. Therefore, Kshatriyas are never meant for accepting directly the order of sannyas or renunciation. Nonviolence in politics may be a diplomacy, but it is never a factor or principle. In the religious law books,
We
it
can
is stated.
we can skip this portion. Then read from
Okay.
here. Read through this paragraph.
There are two kinds of swadharmas, or specific duties. As long as one is not liberated, one has to perform the duties of his particular body in accordance with religious principles in order to achieve liberation. When one is liberated, one's swadharma, specific duty, becomes spiritual and is not in the material bodily concept. In the bodily concept of life, conception of life, there are specific duties for the Brahmins and the Kshatriyas respectively, and such duties are unavoidable. Swadharma is ordained by the Lord, and this will be clarified in the 4th chapter. On the bodily plane, Swadharma is called Varnashram Dharma, or man's stepping stone for spiritual understanding. Human civilization begins from the stage of Varnashram Dharma, or specific duties in terms of the specific modes of nature of the body obtained. Discharging one specific duty in any field of action in accordance with the orders of higher authorities serves to elevate one to a higher status of life.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
So let's see this verse carefully. So Krishna is saying, so now we are talking about duty as a Kshatriya, okay? Arjun's duty as a Kshatriya. So Krishna is saying swadharmam, okay? You have a duty, you have a religion, you have a in this particular body, you have a dharma to perform according to religious principle, okay? So you should not now become pitum arhasi. You should not hesitate to perform that duty, okay? In this body, your duty is to fight a dharma yudh, okay? You should, and there is no better engagement for a kshatriya than to fight a religious war, okay? Shreyo anyat na vidyate. If you say shreyo anyat, meaning there is nothing better opportunity for a kshatriya na vidyate. There will not exist a better opportunity for a kshatriya than to fight a dharma yudh, okay? So he's saying you are a kshatriya, this is your swadharma, this is your according to religious principles, this is your prescribed duty. And what better duty can be there for a kshatriya than to fight in a dharma yudh? So Krishna is reminding him of his duty as a kshatriya. Okay, there is no better engagement for you. It's like reminding a student that in this particular time and situation, according to religious principles, your duty is to study. Your duty is to study for this exam. Okay, or whatever duty one has as a doctor or as a teacher, whatever that particular duty we have to perform, we have to do it very diligently, we have to give it due diligence, right? We have to do it very responsibly to the satisfaction of, according to the religious principle, that duty has to be satisfactorily performed. So that is one thing Krishna is saying, that kshatriyas actually they train themselves. Like we don't recommend any violence, but they would actually go fight with the animals in the forest in order to train themselves, because a sudden attack may come from an enemy. So they would train with the animals. Actually, they will fight with the tiger so that they're properly trained to kill an enemy when an attack happens, because their duty is to protect the citizens of their kingdom. Shat means hurt. Prabhupada is saying Shat means hurt. Trayate means to give protection. So Kshatriya means Shat Trayate iti Kshatriya. Okay? जो शत से त्रायत करता है, जो शत से harm से protect करता है, that is Kshatriya. So how can Arjuna give up this duty of protecting his citizens from the harm? Okay, that is the biggest duty of a Kshatriya. Shat Trayate iti Kshatriya. So Kshatriyas used to do so many things to make themselves strong, and they would learn all kinds of warfare and weapon art and skills of war, whatnot. They'll train themselves in such ways. So they were specially trained for all these things. So how can a Kshatriya accept the order of sannyas or renunciation? Okay. So this argument of Arjun that I will just give up the war and go to forest, this is not acceptable, because you have your duty is to fight this dharma yudh. So Krishna is reminding him of his duty. And Prabhupada is talking about now two things. Please listen carefully. This is very relevant for all of us. This is the theme of this is our life right here. There are two kinds of swadharma. Okay, the first word of this verse says swadharma. So swadharma means the purpose or the dharma of our life. Okay, dharma means purpose. Swadharma means purpose of our life. Prabhupada is saying there are two types of swadharma. Okay, swadharma means one is an immediate purpose that is assigned to this body, and the other is the ultimate purpose, that is the purpose of the soul, the eternal soul. But while soul is trapped within this body, it has a responsibility to take care of the immediate purpose also. Okay, it has to take care of that bodily responsibility that it has been given. So every body has been given certain principle, certain duty according to the religious principles. That is called the prescribed duty. Okay, every person has to perform that prescribed duty, that is their immediate purpose. Okay, that is their swadharma, that is their short term dharma or swadharma. The other swadharma is that of the soul, which has to be simultaneously performed, is the purpose of going back to Godhead, the soul, to facilitate the soul's journey, the real self's journey back to Godhead. So that is the ultimate purpose of the soul. And we have to somehow live in a way that we align our two swadharmas together, the bodily purpose and the eternal purpose together, the immediate purpose and ultimate purpose together. Okay, somehow we live in such a way. So Prabhupada is saying this can be best accomplished by following the principles of varnashram dharma. So varnashram dharma means that there are four varnas. Okay, four varnas. Prabhupada is saying this will be more clarified in the 4th chapter. But four varnas means that everybody picks their bodily responsibility or prescribed duty according to their qualities, according to their guna and karma. Okay, varna is picked like that. Like how does somebody become a Brahman? How does somebody become a Kshatriya? How does somebody become a Vaishya or a Shudra? This is not by birth. This is by their qualities, by their skills, by their tendencies, by their activities, their choice. It is their choice. Their chosen activities, their chosen inherent qualities give them the assign them the particular varna. Like some people are inclined towards fighting and administrative work, then they are called Kshatriyas. Some people like to do business type of work, so then they are Vaishyas. Some people like to do a labor kind of work, so then they are Shudras. Some people like to do intellectual type of work, then they are Brahmanas. In this way, based on their chosen activities and their inherent skills, a varna is given, a social order is decided, which order they fall in. Do they fall in Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra category? And according to whatever activity they chose, then they should do that with full responsibility, give it due diligence, and not slack. So Krishna is not letting Arjun slack off in this activity. So Prabhupada is saying this is called varnashram dharma. When you follow the duties according to your varna, then that helps to actually elevate you spiritually also. It slowly brings you on a spiritual platform also, which means your immediate purpose of the body and the ultimate purpose of the soul gets nicely aligned when you follow the varnashram dharma. So Prabhupada is saying this is the man's stepping stone for spiritual understanding. इसलिए whatever bodily duty we have been given, if we do it properly, discharge it properly with responsibility, then slowly we come to the spiritual platform, a spiritual elevation also. So it facilitates the soul's eternal journey also. This is the last line. Discharging one specific duty in any field of action in accordance with the order of higher authorities serves to elevate one to a higher status of life. Does this make sense? Does everybody understand the concept of swadharma and varnashram dharma?
Mataji.
So how many swadharmas are there?
2.
2. What are they? If you had to say in simple language, what are they called?
पहला हो गया immediate, which is our body needs right now, and दूसरा हो गया the ultimate purpose, which is the spiritual, going back to Godhead.
Yeah. And we should somehow align them together, है ना? दोनों train parallel पटरी पे चढ़नी चाहिए, right? उनको ऐसे align करना. So that's why it is said, just say, when we choose our profession, for example, how can you align immediate purpose with eternal purpose? Choose your profession with intelligence. Don't choose such a profession that is harmful to your spiritual growth. Okay, like if it is very time consuming, if it involves, let's say, animal slaughter, if it involves harming other people, lying, cheating, like if it, those kind of things, don't choose those kind of professions, because that will be harming your spiritual growth. We want both things to move parallel together. So even your immediate purpose, your bodily duties should be picked up very with awareness, with discrimination, okay, with spiritual intelligence. They should be chosen. So that's how you can align them together, and many other things come into that. Okay, let's do next one, 2.32. Yadrichaya चोपपन्नम् यदृच्छया चोपपन्नम् स्वर्गद्वारम् अपावृतम्
स्वर्गद्वारम् अपावृतम्
सुखिन क्षत्रिया पार्थ
सुखिन क्षत्रिया पार्थ
लभन्ते युद्धमीदृशम्
लभन्ते युद्धमीदृशम्.
Okay, please read this. Can someone read?
Hare Krishna. O Partha, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets.
Mataji, 1 second. I'm just going to show the Sanskrit very quickly. So now Krishna is giving the benefit of fighting in this war. Okay, we talked about sakam karma, right? Where somebody is very focused on the fruits of the activity or results of the activity. So Krishna is giving this positive result, this fruit of fighting in this war. The benefit is स्वर्ग द्वारम अपावृतम. स्वर्ग के द्वार खुल जाएंगे आपके लिए. स्वर्ग द्वारम अपावृतम. Okay, the doors of heaven will be widely open to such a kshatriya who fights a religious war. So it's those kshatriyas are very fortunate to whom this opportunity is given. It's like imagining you're skilled or trained in something, and then opportunity comes to use that skill in helping people. Then that's very fortunate. You were already skilled in that, and now you're getting the opportunity to serve, to use that in service. So Arjun should see this as a very great opportunity to use this skill of fighting in the service. Rather, he's seeing this as a mishap or as a problem, but actually this is a very good opportunity, Krishna is saying. Yes, Mataji, please continue.
As Supreme Teacher of the world, Lord Krishna condemns the attitude of Arjun, who said, I do not find any good in this fighting. It will cause perpetual habitation in hell. Such statements by Arjun were due to ignorance only. He wanted to become non-violent in the discharge of his specific duty. For a Kshatriya to be on the battlefield and to become non-violent is the philosophy of fools. In the Parasha Smriti or religious codes made by Parashar, the great sage and father of Vyasdev, it is stated the Kshatriya's duty is to protect the citizens from all kind of difficulties. And for that reason, he has to apply violence in suitable cases for law and order. Therefore, he has to conquer the soldiers of inimical kings, and thus, with religious principles, he should rule over the world. Considering all aspects, Arjun had no reason to refrain from fighting. If he should conquer his enemies, he would enjoy the kingdom. And if he should die in the battle, he would be elevated to the heavenly planets, whose doors were wide open to him. Fighting would be for his benefit in either case. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Krishna is saying, refuting this argument of Arjun, where he said there will be no enjoyment. Remember? So one argument was compassion. Second argument was no enjoyment. So Krishna is saying, what are you talking about? If you won this war, then you would enjoy the kingdom. And if you did not win this war, if you died in the battle, then dying on the battlefield would take you to heaven. So this is a win-win situation. Whether you win or lose, you will enjoy regardless. You will either enjoy the kingdom or you will enjoy the heavenly planets. So basically, this is a fight for a very noble cause, right? This is a very dutiful fight for the noble cause. So anybody who fulfills their duty, who engages in this type of religious violence, will actually enjoy the heavenly kingdom, whether they win or lose. So either way, this is a very profitable situation for Arjun. So if he's looking at risks and benefits, profit or losses, then he should see that there is actually profit in either case. Whether he wins or loses, he will benefit. Let's see the next thing. Now Krishna will tell what will happen if you don't fight, if you don't fulfill your duty, if you run away from this righteous fight, what will happen. Atchetvam imam dharmyam, atchetvam imam dharmyam, sangramam na karishyasi, sangramam na
Ramam na
karishyasi,
karishyasi.
तथा स्वधर्मं कीर्तिं च तथा
Tatha
स्वधर्मं
swadharmam
कीर्तिं
kirtim
च
cha.
हित्वा पापम् अवाप्स्यसि हित्वा
Hitva
पापम्
papam avapsyasi.
Okay, please read.
I can read this.
Yes.
If, however, you do not perform your religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sins for neglecting your duties and thus lose your reputation as a fighter.
Mataji, 1 second. So here 2 problems are given for not fighting. So for fighting, he gave 2 benefits. If you win, you will enjoy the kingdom. If you lose, you will enjoy the heavenly planets. Now for not fighting, he gave 2 problems so far. Okay, he'll give more, but 2 problems so far. 1, papam avapsyasi, pap lagega, you will incur sin. Now this refutes another of Arjun's doubt. Remember that Arjun said that I will incur sin for fighting in this war. Krishna is saying, no, that is very wrong understanding. You will incur sin for not fighting in this war. So that is another argument of Arjun that Krishna is refuting. He's saying, papam avapsyasi, you will sangramam na karishyasi. If you do not fight in this sangram means war or battle. If you do not fight here, then papam avapsyasi. 1 is you will get pap. Second, kirti. Your kirti, your yash, your fame, your good name will be lost. Okay, you will lose your reputation as a fighter. So you will lose your fame. Please read, Mataji.
Perfect. Arjun was a famous fighter, and he attained fame by fighting many great demigods, including even Lord Shiva. After fighting and defeating Lord Shiva in the dress of a hunter, Arjun pleased the Lord and received as a reward weapon called the Pashupata Astra. Everyone knew that he was a great warrior. Even Dronacharya gave him benedictions and awarded him the special weapon by which he could kill even his teacher. So he was credited with so many military certificates from many authorities, including his adoptive father Indra, the heavenly king. But if he abandoned the battle, not only would he neglect his specific duty as a Kshatriya, but he would lose all his fame and good name and thus prepare his royal road to hell. In other words, he would go to hell not by fighting but by withdrawing from battle. Haribol.
So 2 problems is he will go to hell, he will get sin, and second is he will get a kirti. His kirti will be lost, his fame, honor, good name will be lost. Let's read more now. Krishna will give more problems that will happen from not fighting. Akirtim chapi bhutani. Akirtim chapi
Akirtim chapi bhutani.
kathyaisyanti te avyayam. Kathyaisyanti te avyayam.
Kathayishyanti devyayam.
Sambhavitasya cha kirtir. Sambhavitasya
Sambhavitasya cha kirtir.
Maranad atirichyate. Atirichyate.
Maranad atirichyate.
Okay, please read this. Please keep reading, trying to finish next 3 verses, then this topic will be finished.
Hare Krishna. People will always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death. Both as friend and philosopher to Arjun, Lord Krishna now gives his final judgment regarding Arjuna's refusal to fight. The Lord says, Arjun, If you leave the battlefield before the battle even begins, people will call you a coward. And if you think that people may call you bad names, but that you will save your life by fleeing the battlefield, then my advice is that you do better to die in the battle. For a respectable man like you, ill fame is worse than death. So you should not fear for your life, better to die in the battle. That will save you from the ill fame of misusing my friendship and from losing your prestige in society. So the final judgment of the Lord was for Arjun to die in the battle and not withdraw.
Hari Bol. So now Krishna is saying, Kathaishanti te avyayam, bhutani kathaishanti. All these people will talk about you, will speak ill of you forever. Akirti, they will bring you infamy forever. So all these people will speak ill of you forever. Okay. And for noble people, for respectable people, it is better to die. Dishonor is worse than death, than to get dishonor. Dishonor is worse than death. So you will get dishonor if you ran away from this battle. So this is another reason Krishna is giving for not fighting. One was akirti, second is ninda or criticism by people. He will be called a coward and he will get sinful reaction. Let's get this next one is also on the same line and I'll discuss these together. Bhayadranad upratam
Bhayadranaduparatam
mamsyante tvam maharatha
mamsyante tvam maharatha
yesham cha tvam bahumato
yesham cha tvam bahumato
bhutva yasyasi laghavam
bhutva yasyasi laghavam.
Okay, please read.
The great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus they will consider you insignificant. Purport. Lord Krishna continued to give his verdict to Arjuna. Do not think that the great generals like Duryodhana, Karna, and other contemporaries will think that you have left the battlefield out of compassion for your brothers and grandfather. They will think that you have left out of fear of your life, and thus their high estimation of your personality will go to hell. Haribol.
Hari Bol. So now Krishna is saying, so he said how these people will criticize you. He's describing what will happen, that these Maharathas, these great generals, what these great generals will say about him. They will not say that you ran because you were compassionate for them, right? People see only the actions. They won't see your motivation. They will only see the act of running away. They will not know that you ran away because you felt compassionate for them. They will think that you ran away because of fear. Okay. So the bahumat, their bahumat will be lost, like their great honor or esteem that they have for you, how they hold you in very esteemed regard, that will be lost. They will consider you very insignificant. Your value will be lost because they will think that you ran away out of fear for your life. So basically, they'll call you coward who could not stand in the battlefield, and they will not know your real intention of being compassionate actually. So Krishna is just telling him the mindset of the people, and this is what happens, right? We see that people give a lot of, when something happens, something like this happen, people give a lot of interpretations to what somebody's action might have meant. A lot of gossips go around and story gets modified, and it mutates, it's becomes something else. So the real intention of the person behind an action is lost, and people add their own perception or add their own interpretation and own gossips and rumors to it and make it into something else. So Krishna is giving him that fear of ninda, of criticism, of losing his honor and esteem in the world, and he'll be called a coward, and all these Maharathi will not honor him anymore. Let's read, I want to read next two because that will finish this topic. अवाच्यवादंश्च बहुन् अवाच्यवादंश्च बहुन् वदिष्यन्ति तव आहिता
vadishanti tavahitaः
निन्दन्तस्तव सामर्थ्यं
निन्दन्तस्तव सामर्थ्यं
ततो दुःखातरं नु किम् ततो
ततो
दुःखातरं नु
दुःखातरं
किम्.
नु किम्.
Okay, it's a short one. Please read.
Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you? Purport. Lord Krishna was astonished in the beginning at Arjuna's uncalled for plea for compassion, and he described his compassion as befitting the non-Aryans. Now, in so many words, he has proved his statements against Arjuna's so-called compassion. Haribol.
So some Sanskrit words here, very significant. Vadishyanti tav ahita. Ahita means though ahit, people that don't want your hit, meaning your enemies, your people that are envious of you. So ahitas, they will do your ninda, okay, of your tav samarthyam, your skills, your ability. They will criticize your abilities. They will vadishyanti tav ahita. Your ahit people, your enemies, envious people will say unkind words. Avacha means unkind words, fabricated words. They will come up with all kind of interpretations and stories, and they will say unkind things about you. They will do a lot of ninda. Okay. Tato dukkha taram nukim. What will be more painful for you? It will be very painful. It will be very hurtful to you if they start speaking ill of you like this. Okay. So Prabhupada is saying that this action of Arjun was befitting the non-Aryans. Non-Aryans are people that are, so Aryans are people that are very topmost consciousness, people that have very strong character, very solid, superior qualities, superior consciousness, superior conduct. Those are Aryans. But what Arjun is trying to do here is befitting the non-Aryans. So it does not befit such a worthy person, such a skillful, such a kind, compassionate person like Arjun. It does not befit these things that they will say about him. So Krishna is basically showing him what will happen after if he leaves this battle. What will all these people say and think about him? And it will be very unkind. It will be full of criticism, full of they'll make fun of him. They'll call him a coward. They will lose any honor, any esteem of him. They will consider him very insignificant. So will be very painful for Arjun. Let's do this one. हतो वा प्राप्स्यसि स्वर्गम् हतो वा
प्राप्स्यसि स्वर्गम्
जित्वा वा भोक्ष्यसे महिम् जित्वा
वा भोक्ष्यसे महिम्
तस्मादुत्तिष्ठ कौन्तेय
तस्माद् उत्तिष्ठ कौन्तेय
युद्धाय कृतनिश्चया
युद्धाय कृतनिश्चया.
Okay, please read this.
O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight. Even though there was no certainty of victory for Arjun's side, he still had to fight, for even being killed there, he could be elevated into the heavenly planets. Hare Krishna.
So now Krishna is rounding up this discussion that even if you were killed on this battlefield, hatova, he says hatova, even if you got killed, prapsyasi swargam, you will get swarg, you will get heavenly planets because you're fighting while discharging your duty, properly doing your duty for this noble cause. So you will get swarg, hatova. Jitvava, but let's say you didn't die, you didn't get killed, you came out winner, okay, you conquered. So then bhokshay se mahim. So then you will enjoy this world. Okay, then you will enjoy this world. So that's why, O Kaunteya, Uttishta, get up and with great determination, Nishchaya, fight this battle. Okay, so he's saying either way, there is no loss to you. But if you left this war, then there will be a lot of loss to you because all these people will criticize and make fun of you. So this is where Krishna stops the risk and the benefit analysis of fighting or not fighting. Okay, he gave all the problems that will happen by not fighting. So now I want to get into a little bit of, just for 5 minutes, a discussion point here. This is very important to understand. So looks like Krishna is telling Arjun that all these people will say bad things about him. You should worry about what society thinks, what people say about you. They will do all this ninda. They will criticize you. Now, typically, isn't this considered a very materialistic mindset to worry about what people will think, what somebody will say, what society will think of me? Isn't that peer pressure? Like somebody will say, "Oh, what will people think about me if I'm not joining them in the party tonight or drinking alcohol with them? I would rather just, just go with them and just do what pleases them." So isn't this contradictory? People pleasing is not really very high principle, right? Just trying to go with the people, go with the society's opinions. But Krishna is actually giving, isn't this why people commit suicide? Let's say somebody's a failure, somebody failed at what they set out to do. They could not please the people around them. Then they worry about dishonor. They worry about society's opinion of them, low opinion of them, and people even kill themselves. People go into depression because they failed at something. So when you look at all these verses, this is what was coming to my mind, that Krishna is over and over saying that you will be considered insignificant, you will be considered a coward, these people will criticize you, ninda karenge, they will say bad things, avachya, they will say unkind things about you. Isn't this the kind of thinking that lead people to get depressed, get worry about people's opinions all the time, and to just cater to the society's norms? So how do you reconcile this with Krishna's teachings here? And yes, Mataji.
I can try. Okay,
Yes.
because the things which all those things are materialistics, but what Krishna is trying to do is for a religious war, for the dharma war. So that's why he's preaching him about all the things that the people will say. So I think it's in a different level we're talking about. Our things when we think about is all materialistic things, worldly things. But again, this is for a religious war. So I think this is what he's talking about is all valid.
Okay, let's take, there are many points on this. So that is one understanding. Perfect, Mataji. What other understandings come to mind about this? There are many, many thoughts about this. What else comes to mind?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
Even I had the same thought process when we were discussing that it's very at like Krishna is talking at a very kind of a bodily level. But my understanding is that he's talking at a very basic level of like karma kanda, and then eventually he will progress to the higher consciousness.
Yes, perfect understanding. So right now, Krishna is speaking to that level of intelligence, to a lower level of intelligence. So remember that in the beginning, Krishna is trying to appeal to a different type of intelligence here, a bodily type of intelligence. So Krishna is saying that even if you worry about, people, then even by people's estimation, you will not be considered very significant. Your actions will be laughed at or criticized, because even if you worry about people's opinions, even then this is not the good course of action. So we are not saying, Krishna is not saying to worry about people's opinions, but Krishna is saying, let's say you worry about people's opinions, even then it's not a good course of action. So he is appealing to a lower level of intelligence, a bodily, somebody who's a materially attached or bodily attached type of intelligence. So he's giving a lower principle. So these principles, this is not the ultimate teaching of Bhagavad Gita. This is what I want to convey here, that these initial things that Krishna is talking about, this is sakam karma, or like Mataji said, karma kanda, where you worry about the fruitive benefits, the personal gains. Okay, since this person, if they are on that level where they're attached to personal gains, then you showing them the personal gains. Okay, but this is not the ultimate or the highest teaching of Bhagavad Gita. This is a lesser principle. This is called the substandard principle that Krishna is giving here. This is not the highest teaching. So Mataji is right. Namita Mataji is also right that you are not going to take everybody's. First of all, when you take into account people's opinions, we neither disregard, not take into account people's opinions. We take into account the action itself. So Mataji is saying they are talking about a spiritual war. If your action is righteous, if you're performing the correct action, okay, you should not be people oriented. You should be action oriented. Is my action correct or not? Okay. Then if you fail or lose or succeed, it should not matter, because I did my best. Okay. I did best according to the guidance of my authorities, according to the will of Krishna, according to what is ordained in the scriptures, what is enjoined by my gurus. I did the right duty. I did my duty. Then if I fail or succeed, it should not matter. Okay, then people's opinions do not matter. But we should not just cater to people's opinions for everything. Okay, Mataji is saying we should not just cater to people's opinions for everything. If they are trying to influence you towards something that is incorrect, a wrong action, which is not ordained by scriptures, which is sinful, which is against religious principles, then you're not going to do that action just to please people either. Okay, so it's not the people's opinion that we have to keep in center. Krishna is not saying keep people's opinions in center. Krishna is saying do your duty as the center. Keep your righteous work in the center. Then if you fail, don't worry. If you succeed, enjoy the results. That's what Krishna is saying. Okay. But the duty, the righteous action is in the center. It's not so important what people's opinions are. Okay. People's opinions are not important. Then another understanding of this is, so already we have taken two understanding. One, this is not the highest principles right now we are talking about. We are appealing to somebody who's bodily attached, looking at personal gains. So to that mindset, this principle will appeal. Okay. Second was that you don't need to just take people's opinion into account. Your main focus should be on the action that you are performing. If you did your best in your exam, you studied really well, then if you fail or succeed, okay, I mean, I couldn't do any better than that. Okay, then you don't need to get discouraged or depressed or all these things that happen. So then the third understanding about this is, it's not that we completely disregard people's opinions either, especially if somebody is a public figure like Arjun, somebody, like celebrities, for example. When these celebrities advertise about smoking or eating pan, tobacco, that is not, I mean, they can say, oh, we do this so we can, we don't care about public's opinion, we'll do whatever. No, but you have a responsibility, right? So some people's opinions in certain actions do matter. Okay, so you have to take into account whose opinions matter. Not everybody's opinion matters, because most of the people in this world are ignorant. Like, let's say I ask Avni, your mom says not to smoke, but a random person on the street says to smoke. Whose opinion matters to you more? Who, according to you, is your well-wisher and a spiritually elevated person, and is a better guide, better friend to you? That person's opinion should matter. Okay, so right now Arjun should not worry so much about what Duryodhan and Party will think. Okay, but he should worry about what Krishna will think. We should worry about what our mentors will think, what our guru will think, what my well-wishers, what my parents want me to do. If they're spiritually elevated, if they have wisdom, if they have this long-term spiritual vision, how would they want me to act? Okay, so certain people's opinions do matter. So opinions matter, but only of certain people. Actions matter more than the opinion. The action should be righteous. Okay, and then in this situation, Krishna is giving a lower principle. That is why he's putting the opinion of Duryodhan and Party in front. He's saying that these people, these Duryodhan and these Mahabahus will laugh at you. They will do your ninda, because he's just appealing to this attached mindset of Arjuna right now. Any other ideas come to mind about this? There can be more understandings, but I just wanted you to understand that we neither accept people's opinions, we neither conduct ourselves by people's opinions, and nor we disregard people's opinions whimsically. Okay, is that point clear?
Yes, Mataji, very beautifully explained. Thank you.
It is said, like I'll try to say it. It is said, it is wrong to do something bad to offend people, right? We don't want to do something bad to offend people. Is that right? You agree with that? We should not do anything bad to offend people. But it is equally wrong to not do something right, or it is equally, let me say it again, it is equally wrong to not do something right to please ordinary people. Okay, you can spin it in your mind, but basically,
second time, but it is equally wrong
to It is equally wrong to not do something right to please ordinary people. जैसे कि कोई आपको बोलता है, माता जी सिंपल एग्जांपल देती हूँ, कोई आपको बोलता है कि अल्कोहल पी सकते हो आप. So in order to please these people, you don't do something right. You accept that, okay, I can drink alcohol. So it is equally wrong to not do something right to please ordinary people. जैसे हम कई लोग बोलते हैं कि हम people pleasers जो होते हैं, people pleasers, they will do wrong things to please ordinary people. Okay, they will do wrong things to please ordinary people. Like, let's say Vedi's exam is tomorrow and somebody will come and say, let's go watch movie and waste time. She decides to not do the right thing and rather please her friend, to please an ordinary unworthy person. She decides to do that just to please somebody. You do the wrong thing is also incorrect. Okay, if it is incorrect to offend someone by doing the bad thing, it is also incorrect to do the wrong thing just to please someone. You understand now? Does it make sense?
Yes, Mataji.
किसी को offend करना अगर गलत काम करके बुरा है, तो किसी को गलत काम करके please करना भी बुरा है. You see? कि जैसे gambling करना, okay, just to please some unworthy person, that is not correct. So it is also wrong to do that. So basically, people's opinions can be shaped by a lot of worldly things, worldly situations, worldly perceptions. Okay, the most people in this world, especially in Kali Yuga, are ignorant. They are not spiritually advanced. They don't have the wisdom. They're not your well-wishers. So they may suggest many things in this world. So just to not look bad in public, just to not displease people, sometimes what is called peer pressure, basically, we accept and do a lot of things. It is also wrong. Okay, so if it is wrong to offend people whimsically, it is also wrong to just please people whimsically. That is what I'm saying. Okay, so people pleaser बनना भी उतना ही गलत है जितना people offender बनना गलत है. So be very careful whose opinions you take into account and what actions you take in, you are doing those. So when you make big life decisions, when you make big important decisions of life, don't make those based on people's opinion. Take only certain people's opinion into account. Don't decide what is best for you, what is good or bad for you based on ignorant people's opinion. Okay, you should do those actions, those life-changing decisions. Those should be made based on what is ordained by the Lord, what is enjoined in the scriptures, and by the wise people in your life. That is what I'm saying here. Anyway, so ultimately Krishna is recommending that you keep your duty in the center. So he started with the duty, he ended with the duty. Keep your duty in the center. Your duty as a Kshatriya is more important. Then he also gave the side principle, lesser principle of other people will also not be pleased. If that's something you care about, then that's not going to happen either. People are not going to applaud you because you've left the war. They're going to make fun of you. They're going to criticize you and be very unkind about it, actually. So even if you are worried about people's opinions about this failure and success, about enjoyment or no enjoyment, in every regard, Krishna has refuted all his enjoyment or no enjoyment wala principle ko bhi Krishna ne address kiya hai, failure or success, and people's opinion. All these lower principles that people typically worry about, materialistic people worry about these things. So he said, even if you're worried about these things, even then, you don't have anything to worry about. If you fight in this battle, it will be a win-win situation in this regard also. So then Krishna will move on to the principle of nishkam karma, meaning abhi tak sakam karma tha, now he will start talking about nishkam karma, working without the desire to enjoy the results. Okay, so we'll start that from next verse next time. Let's see, any questions, any corrections? Who wants to share anything? Chetan Prabhu or Renu Mataji? I think it's Hiral Mataji on iPhone. Please share if any questions, corrections, realizations. Nagarjan Prabhu, Sheetal Mataji, want to share anything? Okay, then we'll stop. Yes, Mataji.
I think I'm just going to say that this was nice. The way Krishna is explaining kind of goes in a linear kind of or progression from like the basic at material level, and then he's talking and so nicely he refutes each and everything. So that is something that I liked. The way he's teaching his the qualities like of a teacher, like what he's taking into consideration, all the questions and then all the doubts that were raised by Arjun, and then usko kharij karte ja rahe hain.
Right. Right. Already he has refuted compassion, sinful reactions, and enjoyment. Yes. Thank you, Mataji. Wonderful. Yeah, Krishna is amazing teacher, so we'll keep learning from him. We'll continue next time. Thank you everyone for joining. Mancha kaltarubhischa kripa sindhuvevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishnavastaya Tadbhaktaya namo namah. Shri Gitopnishad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Guru and Gauranga. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Shri Radhe Shyam.